We study art history, I think, because we're curious. And we're curious about these strange objects that we call art.
The world we live in is intensely visual. It's a very, very visual world, and it's getting more sophisticated and more complex all the time.
It's so important to understand how this world has come to be so complex.
In art history at Carleton, we emphasize the interconnection between art objects and their social and political contexts.
So in art history, what we do is we take these strange objects and we make them familiar. And by understanding this context, we gain knowledge not just about the work of art, but also about the culture in which the art was made.
One of the great strengths of art history at Carleton is the breadth of what we cover in our courses.
There are a lot of different artistic traditions that are taught in this department.
We look at all sorts of media: painting, sculpture, performance art, architecture, the whole thing.
There are architectural historians working in material culture studies.
We have a lot of people here who specialize in Western art and its history.
Canadian art.
The history of print, the history of photography.
We also have a great strength in Aboriginal art. So there's a huge, broad range of things that students can study in art history when they come to Carleton.
The students get to know one another really well. The professors get to know their students really well. There's a great collegiality.
We work very hard as professors to encourage students to work together and to nurture one another.
The campus just has an amazing vibe of community, and you experience it from your first day here.
To live in a beautiful place like Ottawa, which is small and friendly, but is made incredibly large by its institutions, particularly cultural institutions.
What is the capital advantage? Well, it's having access to very rich collections of national importance.
We have developed very close relationships with many institutions that allow us to give students a broader and richer experience of studying art history than anywhere else.
We go on so many field trips. I don't think I've taken an art history class at Carleton where we haven't gone on a field trip.
Pretty much every class I've had, we've had to either go to the gallery for an assignment or we've gone with our class.
Ottawa has a wealth of galleries and museums.
The Canadian War Museum, the Canadian Museum of History, the Ottawa Art Gallery,
The Canada Science and Technology Museum.
the best art history library in Canada at the National Gallery.
The Currency Museum, we're surrounded by cultural institutions like that.
And we even have our own gallery here at Carleton.
It is an outstanding gallery of the highest quality. It actually is the same category of museum quality as that of the National Gallery of Canada.
It runs a wide gamut: historical, contemporary. We have a very large Inuit art collection.
Some students even curate exhibitions at the gallery.
This is something that's become an incredibly powerful resource for us, and one that is really attractive to our students and getting them involved in hands-on experience.
So that makes the work memorable. It makes the artwork that we're studying and the artists we're studying memorable.
We have placed a great emphasis in the art history department on developing programs abroad, such as the program in Venice.
Our students spent the entire semester in Venice.
Not only is it a great opportunity to study some of the great works of Western art and architecture firsthand rather than through books and projected images, but it's an incredible opportunity just to make your world a bigger place. You spend time living abroad, meeting different kinds of people.
I also brought a group of students to New York when my exhibition Gutai Splendid Playground opened at the Guggenheim Museum.
The Practicum program is a really great asset.
It allows students to do internships in galleries and museums where they can gain hands-on experience, and that's something that cannot be acquired in the classroom.
And also, of course, you emerge from a practicum with a much, much broader range of contacts than you would have if you just spent your whole time on campus.
Art history is not just about nice-looking pictures. It's about understanding the world, making sense of the world in past societies, in the early modern era, but also in the 21st century.
It's a degree that teaches you how to think. And so it teaches you how to take a lot of disparate facts and do something with them to make sense out of them. And so if you learn how to do that, you can basically do that in any kind of environment.
Whether you go on to study art history further, or whether you move on to a different field, skills of articulation, skills of visual analysis are really important, whether you're in the business world or you become a doctor or a lawyer.
The ability to process complex information and to come up with theories and ways of understanding complex ideas Those are the sorts of skills that employers really value.
It's not just about pretty pictures, it's about the impact of images in our daily lives.
It's the ability to take what you see around you and make sense of it, because without that ability, the world increasingly won't make sense. Without understanding where we came from visually, right? The cities we live in, the societies we inhabit, without understanding how that came to be, it's difficult to understand how to live in them now and how to project them forward into the future. So although art history is very much about history, it's also about taking that history and making a living present and a living future out of it.